Hello and welcome to the session. In this session, we're going to look at cost accounting and how cost accounting is influenced by the contemporary business environment. Now, cost accounting as a discipline, it doesn't change a lot the way we do certain computation. But what's going to happen? The business environment itself changes. So, as the business environment changes, cost accounting will have to adapt to that business environment. So, we're going to look at specifically 6 factors basically that influence the cost management practices over the years. The first one is going to be shift to global business environment, lean manufacturing, technology, and specifically we're going to focus on e-commerce, focus on the customer now, and the shift in management organization, social, political, and cultural organization. Once again, every time you have a list, if you follow my lectures, I go over this list and I break each one of them into details. The first item we're going to look at, shift to global business environment. Now, if you know a little bit of history, post 1990, after the Soviet Union, went away, broke down, evaporated, whatever you want to say. Well, we had a globalization. Globalization means what? Globalization means you have customers and suppliers all over the world. Before the 1990, companies were limited to their own nation state or their own environment. Now companies can sell post 1990 to US companies can operate in Eastern Europe. Eastern European companies can provide labor to Western Europe, so on and so forth. So globalization really open up the world. And what happened to reinforce globalization? We have organizations such as NAFTA, the European Union, and WTO that emphasize it, that encourage globalization over the past 3 decades. So what happened is economic interdependence increased competition. How? Once you have global shoppers and global suppliers, what's going to happen? You're going to look at the lowest cost of production. So you're going to operate, for example, if you're a US company, and you think it's costing you too much to compete with a European company, what you do is you'll move your operation to China or Vietnam or someplace in Asia where the labor is cheaper and you can compete. Now, bear in mind, this is what's been happening for the past 30 years, but we have to be careful about the recent trend. And if you follow the news, there is a more trend now toward economic nationalization. And the most recent news is President Trump. He's imposing tariffs on Chinese product, which is the Chinese also counter-affected that, and they imposed tariffs on 128 product that we're selling. And that's not only President Trump. Also in Europe, there is an environment where people are looking at economic nationalization, basically not globalization. For example, the Brexit, England exiting the European Union. So this is a recent trend. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but this will be going against the idea of globalization. Okay, so what we're saying here is because of globalization, companies are under intense competition. So because they are under intense competition, you have to use lean manufacturing. And what is lean manufacturing? Basically produce at the lowest cost. You have to find ways to produce at the lowest cost. You could use just-in-time inventory method, basically state that don't manufacture anything unless you have an order. For example, a company is known for that is Dell computers. They don't build something for you until you actually order it. So this way you would reduce your inventory, which is inventory is cost, and you improve quality. Flexible manufacturing system to reduce setup costs. So if you're producing many items, your manufacturing system is easy to switch from the blue color to the red color, from the small size to the medium size. So it's easier to set up your manufacturing cost. And there's an emphasis on speed to market because the manufacturing means you have to be there as early as possible. For example, company like Amazon, they're trying to deliver some of their product the same day. In some places in the US, you order the item and they're trying to get it for you the same day. And this is basically why? Because of competition. A third item, it's importance of information technology, and that's always important, technology and IT. And that started really in 1998 when you have started to have e-commerce. What does e-commerce mean? It means, again, you have people buying from you all over the world. You have to get their product on time, so you have to have lean manufacturing. It's part of the globalization. Okay, so what's e-commerce? It's the use of the internet to buy and sell product. Well, guess what's going to happen? That reduced processing time. So because you can order your product immediately, increase access to important information. Now you have information, you can generate information from all over the world and facilitate information exchange. The fourth item that changes that affect cost accounting is the focus on customer. And I'm sure most of you heard of Yelp and Google Review, where customers go ahead, can rate your product. And sometime what they do, they create a Facebook campaign to bring your product down. And when Nike changed their logo, a lot of people did not like it, therefore they changed it back. So customer is important. The focus is on customer. You can no longer mass produce. There's no more mass production. Customer expect functionality, quality, and innovation. So the customer really in charge. And so the company will have to be aware of this. Cost management, when they devise their plan, they have to be aware of this. Also, the product cycle is shorter. For example, before, it will take much longer for the product to go out of business. Nowadays, I'll give you an example. For example, the MP3 player. MP3 player did not last very long. If you look at the Walkman was for like maybe a decade. Then the MP3 player was very short. Then also you have now other instruments, such as you could use your iPhone to listen to music. So the product has a very short life cycle. Again, the focus is customer satisfaction. So we have to be very flexible and react quickly to the customer's demand. So that means you're gonna use the information in the most efficient way. Also, there's a shift in management organization, how management is run, shift from financial to customer-based measures. So we're going to look at how does the customer look at us. Okay, the focus has shifted from financial measures and hierarchical command and control to non-financial measure and flexible organizational structure. The classic company that I can think of is Zappos, Zappos.com. They sell shoes now. They're part of Amazon. Technically, Zappos, you don't have a boss at Zappos. There's the organizational structure is flat. And this has created a lot of problems. So if no one in charge, how do you run the company? But this is the new trend, basically. Zappos is, you could Google Zappos to see how the company works. Also, we had social, political, and cultural consideration. Again, part of it is the internet. We have people, information flows freely across the globe. Therefore, we have a diverse workforce. We have diverse attitude about things that we did not have before. Changes in the regulatory environment. For example, in China, they did not used to care about intellectual property. Now they have to. Renewed sense of ethical responsibilities. Again, this is debatable, but this is the those are the most recent changes. Now I'm going to look at this graph, kind of summarizes everything that we talked about, but it's a little bit more specific in how companies used to be the prior business environment, because we said this is the contemporary business environment. So this will be side by side, kind of to show you how it works, and we're going to look at a manufacturing company. Now, it doesn't mean it did not change for retailers and service company, but let's look at a manufacturing company. What was the basis of competition under the prior business environment? Well, manufacturers looked at economies of scales and standardization. They tried to produce large quantities of product. This way they can bring their costs down. That was the prior business environment. So if you want to produce phones or whatever they are producing, printers, they will produce a lot of them. Maybe phones and printers are not a good example. Maybe if you want to produce tables. Now it's different. Now it's quality, functionality, and customer satisfaction. They can no longer say we're going to produce a lot, and as we produce a lot, our costs will go down. Therefore, we are competitive. Now you have to focus on the customer. What does the customer need, and focus on that. Focus on functionality. What functionality can you give the customer? Manufacturing process. Well, again, it's an economy of scale, high volume, long production runs, significant level in process and finished inventory. This is called push approach. So back in the old days or the prior business environment, the company would produce as many items as possible, and they will wait for the customer to sell them. Nowadays, it's different. They would produce low volume, short production run, focus on reducing inventory. As I said, I told you, Dell is the best example of that. Dell computers. It's called the pull approach. Pull approach means you're waiting for the customer to ask you for the product. In theory, then you produce the product. Before, it was push. First, you would produce the product, put it on the shelves, and hopefully you can sell it. The technology in the manufacturing used to be assembly line automation, isolated technology application. Maybe they don't communicate with each other. Now it's robotic, flexible, integrated. Basically, if you need product, if you need the raw material, the system automatically ordered the raw material from your supplier. You are connected by a network. So the manufacturing is more competitive. Required labor skills, machine-paced, low-level skills. Nowadays, you need more high-level skills and individual team pace. So you need to work in teams and with a high level computerized or automated skills. Emphasis on quality. Back in the old days, you would accept normal or unusual amount of waste. Now the goal is zero waste. Why? Because of competition. You cannot afford to waste. What about your marketing strategy? It used to be a relatively few variation in the product and long product life cycle. Nowadays, large number of variation, short product life cycle. What does it mean, short product life cycle? It means you have to be constantly adjusting to your customers, constantly finding new product. So it's much more challenging. The market, it used to be largely domestic. Now the market is global. So you can sell on the internet. For example, you're listening to me now. You could be anywhere across the globe. You could be in Central Africa. You could be in South America. You could be in Europe. You could be in California, New York, anywhere in Europe, anywhere in the Middle East. So this is basically, you are my market. 20 years ago, I could not do this. So this is just an example of where can you market your knowledge or your product. The management organization type of information is recorded and reported. It used to be exclusively financial data. This is what we took into account. Now we're going to see later in this course that we use financial and operational data and evaluating the company. And we would look eventually at something called the balanced scorecard, which we'd look at later. Don't worry about that later on. But we're looking at non-financial data in to evaluate the company. The management organizational structure, it used to be hierarchical, command and control on the top. Now it's more network-based, teamwork-based. Employee has more responsibility. It's like basically coaching rather than command and control. And again, as I told you, Zappos is a classic example where basically it's a flat organizational structure. What's the management focus? The management focus used to be on short-term performance and compensation, concern about sustaining the current stock price. Nowadays, increased emphasis on long-term, focus on critical success factors committed to long-term success, including shareholder value. So you're looking also now long-term. But the point in all of this is, remember, you have to be flexible and quickly change in the new environment. This is basically what it says. Why? Because of competition. Why is competition? Because of globalization. Globalization will force you to be competitive. Lean manufacturing. Then e-commerce added, it's make the process much, much faster. And the customer satisfaction is an important topic. So they're all, if you look at it, they're all interrelated. Hopefully this gives you an idea about the six factors that influence cost accounting or management accounting over the past, I would say, 2 to 3 decades.